Hi, SentientRaven here. On September the 11th, 2010, numerous activists have decided to burn the Qur'an. And they will do this publicly, and they will do this in as disrespectful a manner as humanly possible. I wish to offer a declaration and a bit of a rant as a response to this. The declaration is this: I am not an illiterate savage. Therefore, I do not burn books. Needless to say, my own particular copy of the glorious Qur'an is safe. It will not be burned on September the 11th or any other day for that matter. Nor will I burn any of my books, because again, I am not an illiterate savage. I have a couple of things to say or rant about towards both Muslims and those intent on burning the book on that day, or any other day for that matter. Muslims first. I urge you to not take this too seriously. Let me tell you something. I've seen my nation's flag burned on television. I'm not going to go into why that was, but I want to tell you how I look at it. Normally when people's flags get burned, or their books or whatever, they tend to be offended. When I saw my flag burned, I was not particularly offended, and I want to tell you why. It's because the act of burning a flag or a book as a form of protest is just too barbaric, it's too childish and openly ignorant for me to respect enough to take seriously, let alone personally. It's like if I met somebody and known them for about 5 minutes and they start telling me everything about my life and that I'm an idiot and yada yada yada. When that happens, and it's very rare, but it does happen. I mean, I run into assholes like anybody else. I just smile to my ears because who the hell do these people think they are? You think that after 5 minutes of knowing me, you can tell me what my life is like, or what views I hold on things, or why? Of course not. It's absurd. Why would I respect someone's opinion that is like that enough to take it personally? I think it's just childish. They're humiliating themselves, if anything. And these people that intend to burn the Quran, I mean, it should be laughed at, really, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I understand that you come from different cultures most of the time, and perhaps you are incapable of interpreting it that way, but it's one way of looking at it, and I hope that you do look at it this way. It doesn't deserve enough respect to make a fuss about, really. It should be a laughingstock, really. These people should be looked at as if they are openly humiliating themselves as complete morons, as indeed they are. Okay? Now, that's what I wanted to tell the Muslims, or ask the Muslims. What I want to tell those who are intent on burning this book, the Quran, on September the 11th. I can imagine that you're trying to prove a point here. There are three things that I can imagine you're trying to prove. One, you're just trying to be offensive for the sake of being offensive, and merely to offend as many Muslims as deeply as possible. In my opinion, that's mostly, it's at best a waste of time. At best, alright? If not outright dangerous. Okay? I mean, these are the sorts of things that preclude things like the Holocaust. Okay? Alright? The burning of books is a profoundly barbaric act to participate in. But another point that I can imagine you're trying to prove is that freedom of speech is non-negotiable. And the third point that I can imagine you're trying to prove is that the Quran is a barbaric piece of literature, which is, of course, tremendously ironic considering the occasion. Do you really believe that Muslims are going to watch this and think to themselves, wow, freedom of speech sure is a good idea? Or do you think that they're going to look at their Qur'ans and think to themselves that it's worth any less? Do you think that it's going to prove the point that the Qur'an is barbaric? Don't think about that too hard. I'll give you the correct answer. The correct answer is no, it's not. It's not going to be interpreted that way. If even for strategic reasons, This is a colossal mistake. If anything, you are doing the cause against Islam and for freedom of expression a great disservice. You are in that respect a part of the enemies of freedom of expression, paradoxically enough. Now, I happen to believe quite strongly in freedom of expression, and I'm the last person who will ever ask legal action to be taken against those who intend to partake in this barbaric act. As far as I'm concerned, well, let me put it this way. I'm going to say whatever I want, to whomever I want, whenever I want, under any circumstances that I want, for any reason that I want. And that is non-negotiable. It's not up for debate. You're gonna have to kill me to stop me. It's not even an ultimatum. It's just the way things are gonna be, and everyone else is just gonna have to damn well live with that, or kill me, or themselves. I mean, those are the options at hand. I'm gonna say whatever I want. That's that. Not up for debate. I'm not even gonna bother defending it intellectually. It's just the way it's gonna be. That's how I look at freedom of speech. It is non-negotiable. Okay? As for the Quran being barbaric, I also believe that. I do believe that. I'll mention chapter 5, verse 38, which dictates the cutting of hands off of thieves as barbaric a form of punishment as there ever was one. And there are other examples. I could go into a conversation with any Muslim on women's rights, Islamic apostasy, the punishment for theft, the punishments more generally in Islam. They tend to be rather draconian and backwards and primitive and barbaric. And I can back that up. You know, I can actually go into that discussion using the Quran, Arabic or English. I can look up I can tell you the exact verses. I can, you know, explore the ramifications of that with Muslims, and I can do that in a courteous manner, hopefully to convert them away from Islam, because I don't like Islam. I don't like the Quran, right? But the path for that fight to support freedom of expression and to be against superstition more generally, including religions obviously, we should do that by reading the Quran, reading the Hadith, speaking to Muslims, reading Islamic websites, listening to what they have to say and their concerns and such, partaking in a discussion. That is what I thought was the Western civilized way of dealing with cultural conflicts like this one. To burn the book is not to read it. That is in effect the same as silencing someone, which is contrary to freedom of expression. You remind me of the people in Europe who still retain that Mein Kampf, that extremely badly written collection of mindless blathering by one Adolf Hitler, that it should remain illegal. Whereas I strongly protest. I say it should be legal because it's so horrible. You should read it, especially if you are a white German or a Jew. Because otherwise we cannot learn from it. We cannot learn the mistakes if we just put them under the carpet, let alone if we burn books like Mein Kampf or the Quran. All things considered, don't burn books. It's a barbaric practice. It's openly, willfully ignorant. You do the cause of freedom of speech and rationality a disservice by that. And I hope that this will amount to nothing. I hope that this is just a storm in a cup and that nothing in particular is going to happen. I hope that Muslims will understand that there are white Western atheists like myself and many others here on YouTube who protest this because we see it as you do, barbaric and wrong. Its legality is a side issue for all practical purposes. This is not a good idea. It's not gonna help any cause. It's just going to piss a lot of people off, and that's it. There will be no revolution. There will be no great enlightenment as a result of this. It will do nothing but spread hatred and fear. And that's all I've got to say on that. Peace.